Somewhere in a quiet neighborhood of Kyoto, a retired school teacher in her late 60s is carefully wiping the leaves of a small bonsai tree on her veranda. She lives in a modest home she paid off early on a single income. She never invested in the stock market, never read a book on wealth building, and never earned more than an average salary. Yet, she retired with enough savings to travel, help her grandchildren, and live without a single financial worry. How? Not through strict budgeting or chasing side hustles. She quietly practiced 3 deeply Japanese habits that transformed small, everyday choices into lasting financial peace. Today, you'll learn all 3. And by the end, you'll see why Japan was once known for having one of the highest household savings rates in the world and how you can borrow that wisdom starting now. But first, let me ask you something honest. Why is it that 2 people can have the same paycheck, the same bills, and the same opportunities, yet one feels trapped by money while the other moves through life with a sense of quiet control? It's not about who earns more. It's not about being a math genius, and it's definitely not about white-knuckled willpower. It's about having a system built on tiny, repeatable decisions that run almost on autopilot. And the first piece of that system is a word most of the world has never heard: Sumitate. It means to accumulate steadily, to build something valuable quietly over time, without drama, without friction. Imagine this. In Japan, it's completely normal to set up an automatic transfer that moves a portion of your income into savings the moment you get paid. Before you see it, before you can talk yourself out of it, before your brain even registers that the money existed. It's not a monthly negotiation. It's not a goal you hope you'll hit. It's a mechanism. One that made Japan's saving culture remarkably resilient for generations. Here's where most people go wrong. They try to save what's left at the end of the month. And let's be real, there's rarely anything left. Money behaves exactly like water. It expands to fill whatever container you give it. If your account balance is visible, your spending will stretch to match it. Sumitate reverses that flow. You don't save what remains after spending. You spend what's left after saving. That tiny inversion is the difference between feeling like you're constantly running behind and quietly building real freedom. Your first tactic is embarrassingly simple. Pick a percentage anything, 2%, 5%, even a small fixed amount each week. The specific number barely matters at first. What matters is automation. Set it up so that on payday, that money vanishes into a separate account, one you don't casually check, one that isn't linked to your spending cards. Because the moment saving becomes something that happens to you, rather than something you have to decide to do, you remove the daily battle. You stop negotiating with yourself. And that is when accumulation truly begins. Now, before I share the second habit, pause and think about something. What's an item you bought recently that you've barely touched? A piece of clothing with the tag still on? A kitchen gadget collecting dust? An impulse purchase that felt exciting in the store and pointless a week later? That feeling of quiet disappointment? That's exactly where the next concept lives. Mottainai. Often translated as, what a waste, but it carries a heavier, more emotional weight. It's the twinge of regret when something of value is not fully used, not respected, not appreciated. In many cultures, the default question before buying is, can I afford this? But Mottainai asks a far more powerful question. Will this become wasted? That shift changes everything. Because if you only ask about affordability, you'll push your spending right up to the edge of what's possible. But when waste feels genuinely uncomfortable, when you can already picture that item sitting unused in a drawer, you start choosing differently. You buy fewer things. You select with more care. You stop clutter before it even has a chance to enter your home. And here's the surprising part. People who live with this mindset don't feel deprived. They feel lighter because everything they own serves a purpose. Everything has a reason to be there. There's a profound peace in knowing that your space and your money aren't being drained by things you don't actually value. Your second tactic. Before any non-essential purchase, pause. Take one breath. Ask yourself, will this become wasted? If the honest answer is yes, even a soft yes, leave it on the shelf. That single question repeated over months and years, can quietly save you more than any detailed budgeting app ever could. It rewires the way you see stuff, and it brings a surprising amount of calm. Now we come to the third and final habit. This is where patient, everyday behavior silently transforms into long-term wealth. Nagakutsuko. It means to use something for a long time, to care for it, to repair instead of replace, to choose quality over quantity. Not because you're trying to show off, but because you intend to keep that item close for years, maybe decades. Here's what financial common sense often misses. Imagine two people. One buys the cheapest possible version of something, and when it breaks, they buy another cheap one. Again and again. The other person saves up a little longer, buys a well-made version once, and then maintains it carefully. Over time, the second person almost always spends less. They own fewer items. They create less waste. And they experience far less of that draining cycle of buying, discarding, and rebuying. Because the cheapest option at the register is rarely the cheapest across a lifetime. Your final tactic is a lens shift. Instead of asking, "How much does this cost?" start asking, "How long will I use this? And what does that make the cost per year?" That single question transforms how you evaluate value. A pair of shoes that lasts 5 years suddenly looks wiser than 3 pairs that fall apart in 12 months. A well-kept jacket becomes a companion, not just a purchase. You begin to choose things that age well. You treat them with respect, and you step off the hamster wheel of constant replacement. So let's zoom out for a moment. Save automatically before you can spend. Avoid waste by asking what will truly be used. And choose things you can keep long-term, taking care of them as you go. 3 habits. No complex spreadsheets. No restrictive rules that suck the joy out of life. Just small intentional decisions that compound over time. Because real financial peace was never about complicated math or extreme sacrifice. It's about how you behave with money, day after quiet day. Not to chase more and more, but to need less, with purpose and care. If something in this video stayed with you, share it with a friend who's still trying to out-budget their impulses. And if you want more insights on how different cultures build a life of quiet wealth, hit subscribe. We're just getting started. On this channel, we bring you practical, time-tested habits from Japan to help you and your family elevate your quality of life. In our last video, we explored Japanese frugal habits that make you feel genuinely rich, even on a modest income. It might sound impossible, but try those tactics, and you'll see nothing is out of reach. See you in the next one. Before you go, drop a comment below. Which of these 3 habits do you think would change your daily life the most? I read every one. And don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching.